Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is come over to pexels.com. You can find lots of amazing images here to work from when you are going to be drawing your motifs. So this is just another great place. All these images are totally royalty free. So you can see I just searched for flowers here in the search bar, and I have decided to work with this image here. So I'm just going to go ahead and download it. So now I'm just going to drag that image into my Photoshop file and kind of readjust it. Now hold down the Shift key or else your image will get distorted. Then I'm just going to come over to Properties and click Embed to just kind of get rid of that X line. Okay, so I'm going to come over to my Layers panel, and I have a separate layer for my scan or my photo or image, whatever I'm working from, and I'm just going to lock that so that now this image isn't going to be able to move around too much, and I'm going to be able to draw my motif on this design layer right above it. So I'm just going to open my swatches and start designing with the pen tool. So I'm going to come over here, click on the pen tool, and then I'll choose a color, and I generally kind of start with the background color and then add shadows and highlights as I'm working. So I like to change my pen tool color over to an actual stroke. So that way I can kind of see the outlines and kind of still see what I'm doing as I'm going around the edge of this flower. Okay, so I'm just going to close that loop with that last dot. You can see, I'll go back a step, so you can see as I'm hovering over it, that little circle, and that means you're just about to close the shape. So now I can actually toggle and kind of see the shape that I've created there. I'm kind of missing this other flower here, so I'm just going to go ahead and draw that one as well. And I'm going to hold Shift and highlight over both, and then I'm just going to come over to my Pathfinder and click the Merge tool so that now this is going to be all one shape. And then I'll just pop that back out. And I'm going to click on this stroke so that this part is highlighted so that when I click a color, that's going to be the color that changes a bit. So I'm going to want to find a color that's a bit lighter than the color that is on there now, and I'm going to go ahead and start adding some of the highlights. Okay, so what we can do now is we can click on the Magic Wand tool, which is right here, or letter Y on your keyboard. And what that allows us to do is to kind of select one color. So we want to change this 32 to 1. For some reason 32 is the default, which is a little confusing to me, but we can go ahead and grab this color and it'll make sure that it's only selecting that color. And then we can kind of see what this is starting to look like. Okay, so that's what we have so far. So we're going to need to add some more colors. So just create a stroke again, and let's pick another maybe darker color. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and add another darker color just because there are some really dark shadows throughout this flower, and I want to create start creating some of these little dots as well. Okay, so now let's just go back to the magic wand tool and see how it's looking. Okay, so you can see how we're starting to get some depth here, but we want to add some darker colors and then of course fill in the middle section. Okay, so when you're creating these little dots, you don't have to draw every single one. You just want to create a few, drag over them, make sure you just have those selected, and then go ahead and fill them out and group them. Then all you really have to do is click copy and paste, and you can really just move these same dots around. So now you can see the depiction of this floral, and it is kind of a more realistic floral. Your drawing can obviously be much looser and much more modern if that's how you would like to draw. But I'm just going to click off of the photo real quick so we can kind of see just how the flower is looking on its own, and we can even give it a background, which is kind of nice. And what I generally like to do is create a white outline if I am going to have a colored background. So let's see, I might actually change this to a different color. Maybe let's try a green color, maybe something even kind of dark. Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay, so let's stick with that color and bring the photo back. So what I'm going to do next is drag over this whole flower and just group it. Okay, so now this flower is its own group, and we can create another flower or some more leaves and then arrange them around the artboard to create a pattern. Okay, so I chose to use the brush tool in this leaf. So I'm just going to come to Object, Expand Appearance, and then I'm going to use a clipping mask to kind of clip these lines into the leaf shape. I'm going to go to Copy and then click off of it, and then I'm going to paste in place. And then I'm just going to drag over all of these things. You can click off of your previous flower pretty easily because you had grouped it before. You can go to Object, Make, Clipping Mask Make. So now your leaf is clipped in, and you can copy and paste it and bring it all around the artboard. Okay, so I'm going to create this one more flower here and then a few more leaves, and then try to arrange them around the artboard. Okay, so now I'm really liking it, so I'm just gonna drag over all of the motifs and actually group them, because I want to basically repeat this entire group. So in order to create a repeat pattern, I'm going to click copy and paste in place, and then go to object, transform, move. Since my artboard is 10 by 10, I'm going to put in 10 for the horizontal and 0 for the vertical. So this is going to show exactly where the repeat would end up. So it's looking like I might need to make it a little bit larger in order to kind of fill this gap. So I'm just going to try this one more time. Copy, paste in place, transform, move. Okay, and then I'm going to grab both of these and kind of move them up. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click copy, paste in place, transform, move, but this time instead of moving it horizontally, I'm going to move it vertically. So I'm going to click 0 for horizontal and 10 and click OK. Alright, so now we have a repeat pattern all around the edges, so I'm just going to copy this one more time and place it in the middle here. And I might even reflect it and change the scale a bit. So another thing you can do is kind of give this an outline. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and click copy, paste in place, and then go to your layers panel and just hide the one that is on top, and then come to the one that's directly underneath it. Go to Pathfinder and click merge. So this is going to, or actually let's do this one. So this is going to make it all one shape, and what I want to do is I'm going to click on the eyedropper tool and just click the background. This will put the same color here, so when you click over to stroke you can just click on it, it's the same color. And then I'm going to increase my stroke by, let's try 6 points. And then we're just going to come back over to layers and see how this looks on top. So you can see this outline is separating this from the background. So let's just come back to this guy, and to select it you can also click this in your layers panel and you can increase the stroke. So if you're kind of wanting this to sit on top, that's what you can do, and it's giving us some kind of weird pointy things here. So all you really have to do is, once you're happy with it, select that, go to Object, Expand, fill your stroke, and then come over to the Pen tool and click the Delete Anchor Point tool and zoom in on this guy, and we're just going to kind of delete these random pointy guys. Guy's a little pointy. Alright, so zoom back out. And you can also change the color of this. If you're not liking that dark color, you could make it a lighter green. You could also make it white or a cream color. But if you were going to do that, I would probably do that to all the flowers, because otherwise it's going to look a bit odd, like it's standing out a bit. So I think I'm going to paste this guy I don't know. You can also come back and play with the leaves. If anything is not overlapping the edge here, you can kind of rework it. So if you wanted to ungroup this guy and maybe just bring this leaf in a different place, you could bring it to the front. And then if you just want to get rid of that, well, I guess you could drag back over all of this, deselect these guys, and then deselect this leaf. Regroup it, and then arrange, bring to front. So like that's one way you could kind of play around with the leaves. You could even copy and paste this guy and send him to the back. If you just wanted to fill some other areas in. You could also ungroup this guy and get this darker leaf here. Just like copy, paste, and then send him to the back. Maybe we'll reflect him. When you reflect a leaf, it kind of makes it look like it's different, and then if you change the scale a bit, that helps a lot. We should make him skinnier. And this leaf should maybe also I'm just going to bring this one to the front and see how it looks. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. I'm going to bring this one to the front too. I kind of feel like the leaves should be falling behind the flowers a bit. Okay, so I'm really liking this, and so what we're going to do is now create a clipping mask. So just click on your little rectangular tool and just click it once, and we're going to want to create a 10 by 10 because that's the size of our artboard. Click OK, and then come over to align. Make sure you're aligning to the artboard and click the middle and center. Come back to your selection tool. Select over everything. Let's go ahead and expand the appearance of everything. So let's drag over it one more time. Okay, and then come down to Clipping Mask Make. And you'll get a nice little swatch here. So what we're going to do is drag this over to our swatches. Actually, we want to get the background in there as well. So I'm going to click off of this, click Copy. And then I'm going to resave the background layer and kind of click off of it. But I'm going to go to my design layer and paste it in place. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to drag over all of it. Click Merge in your Pathfinder tool. And then bring this whole thing over to your swatches panel. Okay, and now we're going to test the repeat by filling it in kind of an odd shape. I like to do the star just because we can really see how it looks. And yeah, that's the repeat. And I'm pretty happy with it.